Hello, friends, and welcome back to The Free Advantage. I'm your host, Heather Davis, and I want to invite you into a new season of real stories, real recovery, and real freedom. This show has always been about self-discovery, authenticity, and recovering a life of freedom. And this year, we are taking that journey together in a deeper way. You're going to hear raw, honest conversations with people walking this path in real time. Stories of growth, healing, purpose, and becoming whole. You'll also hear from me as I reflect on these themes that rise from the stories, answer your questions, and offer small, meaningful takeaways that you can carry back into your week. This is not just a podcast you listen to. It's a place you belong, where you are part of the conversation. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Free Advantage. I am so happy you are joining me this week. This week is a big week. There's a lot going on in my life, and this whole month is so many things are happening, and I am excited to get it all started and to see how it all works out and turns out. Today, I'm going to be giving you all a life update. I know that over the past year, you have heard bits and pieces of the journey that I have been walking, that my husband and I have been walking. And with it coming up on a little bit past a year since we first moved to Texas, I wanted to give a little life update. February today is the 1st, and it marks the very beginning of my birthday month, which I love. And if anybody knows anything about me, I love my birthday. I think it's one of the most exciting things. It's the day you were born. It's the day you were brought into this creation, this beautiful, wonderful thing, and you're getting to live your life out in this world that we live in. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about everybody's birthday. And so I'm glad that y'all are all going to kind of join me on this journey this month. I said that I would be sharing my story, and I thought appropriately it would just work out that I would share that story on my birthday month. So I hope that you all join me along the way. And I have a little, hair on my mic, and it's driving me nuts. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to share and get you all kind of up to date to where I am now. Last January, if you had listened in, my husband and I had been going through, probably for the past year or two, we had been going through a real big change with his job. He had lost his job. I think it was in October of 2023. Yeah, October of 2023. And so we had been working really hard to make it and to survive. And life just got more and more difficult along the way. He couldn't find work. And after coming from a really high-powered job and then living a life where you had nothing, it was very difficult. We lost our home. We've lost a car along the way. And we ended up having to move in with some family in Texas. And we were blessed to be here. We were blessed that they offered us to come stay here. And the things that all happened around that really was a God move. My family here at the time, some of them were going through addiction recovery and had just gotten out of rehab, and we were able to help and be a part of that journey for them. And it was really a wonderful thing to be able to be here with them during that time. And we're still here. It's been a year in January that we're here, and it's been a wonderful experience. One that at the time, I didn't want to do. I didn't think it would be a good thing. You know, when you're almost, I'll be 50. I'll almost be 50. I'm 47. I'll be 47 this month. That you don't really think, losing your home and losing those things can definitely feel like a huge step back. And it does. It felt like a huge step back, like we're losing everything. We got rid of a lot of our belongings because, we didn't have the money or the place to put them. And so it was very humbling in a way, for sure, where you're like, what is happening? What is happening in my life? And for me and my husband, we were really asking, what is God doing with us? What is happening? We could not foresee what the future would look like or how we would come back from this. But if the last year has taught me anything, it is that you never know You never know what God's plans are for you are. You never know. You sometimes, and I've said it before, sometimes when you think you're in the worst position possible, and the way it looks, the way it feels, the way it sounds, that you're actually in the best place you could possibly be. And this past year, that is something that we have learned. I think that the adversity that we have faced, the struggles that we've endured this past couple of years, we really have watched God maneuver us in such a way that has put us in a place where He has us exactly where He wants us. And little by little, that has continued to be revealed to us. Our family has been a blessing to us. We have been able to be a blessing to them, and working together through sober living with them has been an incredible journey. Learning a lot about what recovery looks like, not just in addiction recovery, but what recovering from the real hard moments of life and recovering from trauma is, and living that firsthand, not just with myself and my own experiences or just coaching others, but living in it. Living in the home with it every single day, what that looks like, what that journey feels like, and what we all endured during it. And it has been a huge learning experience. It has taught me so much, and it is preparing me for more work that I know that God has for me coming in the future. It has been, I mean, I don't know how much more I can say. It's been just a really wonderful experience. And the doors that are now opening. My husband is actually fixing to start a new job, which we're very excited about. And we feel like it's been a long time coming, but even on his own journey, he's learned a lot about himself and finding himself in a new place, in his relationships with God, in his relationships with other people, and especially with his relationship with himself, and finding the true kind of work that he wants to do and what he's truly called to do and passionate about doing, and being able to walk into that with a whole different kind of mindset. So I'll keep you updated on that. We should, honestly, that I said this is a big week for us. It really is. We will find out this week, coming this week, when he starts, and if he starts. Interviews were through last week, and along with it being the beginning of my birthday month, we are also on our way traveling to New Jersey to see our son-in-law graduate Coast Guard boot camp. It's been a big struggle for him. He's been sick, and we've been praying that he is well and doing well, and that we will see him hopefully this Friday. So we got a lot going on. Right? I got a lot going on. The podcast has taken a whole new direction. I've started videos. I'm going to do interviews. I'm doing Q&As, as you know, if you've been listening in, and I'm hoping to continue that more and more, and hopefully expanding that out and bringing on more people to share their story. I look forward to March when I'm having another guest on, and I hope you all will join in and listen to that. But yeah, there's been lots of things in the works. I've been releasing not the podcast, but I've been releasing my new website, which I have been working diligently on for months. My husband has been building it for me, and I've been writing and preparing and creating all kinds of new things for you. It's great to get my own creative expression out in the world. It really is. And putting the things that I've learned and that I've experienced out in the world. But my true hope is that you will find something that I have created from the work I've done, from the experiences that I've lived, that you will find something that will help you along the way on your own journey. I'm going to be opening up some lives, some like join me live during the week sometime. So that'll be available to you. I got a lot coming and a lot in the works. So let's see what else has been going on. It's been a crazy year. I recovered from shingles. I know that some of you had heard about that. I got shingles last year in July. It was probably a 3 to 4 month recovery for me. It was my second time having it. And it begged for me to question why. I know that they're caused by stress. I got them once when I was 21 years old after a really stressful experience in my life. And I was like, oh, okay. So when it popped up this time, I was like, what is this? And why is this happening? But it slowed me down in a different way, to rest. And I think that happens a lot to a lot of us when we go, 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 go. We have so much going on. There's a lot of stressful things in our life, and we don't self-care appropriately. That's how you say it, appropriately. And so sometimes life has a way of slowing you down for you. And so I took a lot of time resting, spending a lot of time in bed, and I spent a lot of time writing and working on some new things during that time. And it really kind of, at that point, was the pivotal moment for me to really start getting a lot of new things rolling. I had just started getting my certification in specialty and recovery. So I spent a lot of time doing that and focusing on that. And that's what also I did through the end of the year. In December, I graduated from my recovery specialist program and got my certification there. So I finished that schooling. But there's been a lot going on. My oldest son got out of the Navy. He's been in the Navy 6 years. And so he finished his service term, which has been a big change for us in our family. My youngest and his fiance, he got engaged at the very end of the year at Christmas last year, and him and his fiance graduated college in June. It was the beginning of June. So we had a huge family trip. We all went and visited and got to spend a lot of time together, and watching the two of them graduate and step into life, into their new roles, and watching them grow and struggle and learn how to be adults in a whole different kind of way. And my oldest daughter, she got married. Her and her husband got married in June, and he left for boot camp in December. So it's been a wild ride with the kids as well. I think there's been a lot going on. I wish you could talk back and tell me all the things going on in your life this past year. You know, the state of the world has been in upheaval for a while, and I know that there's a lot of people struggling with uncertainty and fear and not sure what's happening or where we're all going. And coming from my last year of my whole life feeling that way, everything around me feeling like it's crumbling and not knowing what's coming next, it's a true testament to learning how to lean on your spiritual grounding and finding that space within yourself, and knowing that we don't have all the answers. We don't know everything that's going to happen, that we're working our best to survive, and that having that grounding with that space with God is so, so important. It was for me and my husband. It's brought our faith to a whole new level. I mean, being completely humbled to the ground is, and losing everything you have is been one of the most humbling experiences for me. But it has really brought me back to a place where I've grown into a whole new place with my faith, in learning that I have to trust the one who created me, the one who's called me to do the things that I'm called to do, who's put the desires in my heart, and who has brought me to the place in which I am right now. So, I know that as you may have experienced a rough year last year, or walking into this year the same way, I want to encourage you that sometimes when it feels like there's no hope, that there truly is hope. There truly is the one and only hope. And that's God. And He can really help you walk through it and find your way through it if you just believe. And then you just reach out and ask and seek, because there came a time where I'm questioning, like, what, are you even there? Are you real? Is this really happening? You're going to learn more this month about my journey. I was a preacher's kid. I grew up in church. My parents were pastors. His parents were pastors. So God has always been a kind of focal center point in my life. Always. And I was one of those people who, like, I don't ever remember a time where I didn't believe in Jesus or I didn't know that He existed. My whole life was always centered around that, until I got a little bit older as a teenager, and life changed a lot within my own family. And I've walked a lot of life back and forth, not believing, but not really paying attention or focusing on, or it was just kind of like one of those things that's always in the background. Like, I'm just out here living my life, doing my thing. God's there. He sees me. He's got a part of it. He's watching over me, those kinds of things. That's kind of where I stayed for a long time in my life. And over the years, I have found my way back to him and in his purpose for me. And a lot of that has been through my own adversity and my own struggles that I have come to find him again. And unfortunately, sometimes it just is that way. We start seeking for something different and something better and looking for that hope when life really feels like it's all falling apart. But this past year has definitely brought me into a more serious and thoughtful and reflective place about who we are as people, who we are as humans, why we're here, why we were created, and realizing that we are not meant to know everything, that the uncertainty of life, that risky feeling, nobody wants to step out and not know what's happening. We don't want to know. We don't want to not know what's going on, but that we were truly not built to know all of that. If we truly did, we wouldn't do anything. I think that we'd be terrified if we knew everything. But I digress with that. It's just that, but we're not meaning to know. Now I'm going to take a second because I want to make sure that I'm saying it right. Like, it is in the not knowing that we are able to find a place within ourselves, the strength to continue to move on. It's where we find that grounding within our spirituality and with God, that it helps us and able to humble ourselves in our uncertainty, that helps us be able to find him, to come back to him, and to move forward. God has done a huge, huge change in my life this past year with my husband and I, where our relationship has become something completely different than it's been for the past 15 years. We celebrated 15 years on New Year's Eve night, New Year's Day. We got married 15 years ago at midnight on New Year's Eve. My grandfather married us in his home at the strike of 12. It was a wonderful time, and I'm super glad that we got the ability to do that since before he passed away. But it is not, I just want to say it's not unlike God to be able to maneuver us in such a way to where we need the kind of things in our life that challenge us in a way that show us that we're so much more than what we think we are. And I hope I'm saying this right, that it makes sense to you, because I talk a lot about uncertainty and how it feels very risky. I mean, that's why I call it the risky path, because that is what we're walking. We are walking a risky path. It feels dangerous. It feels scary out here. We don't know what we're doing. We're just walking around in the wilderness, just like half-cocked, not knowing what's going on. And, we think we have it together. We hope we have it together until something slaps us in the face and we're like, crap, I didn't have any of that together. What happened? It's all unraveling. It's all falling apart. And I think that God helps us and gives us opportunities where we're challenged to realize that we can't always just rely on ourselves. We can't always just rely on a spouse or a family member, but learning to rely on a community, and we're learning to rely on him. And this whole past year has been nothing but that for me. As I'm talking. I'm probably rambling, and you may not want to continue to listen, or you can just keep listening on or not. But that's what it's been like. This past year has been just one huge humbling and learning to have faith all over again in a whole new way experience that has brought me to a place where I have really actually found real purpose. And as I'm walking into this new year, and for me, my new year, like everybody's like New Year's, obviously it's a new year, but then like New Year starts at the spring equinox. Some people say New Year starts in September, but for me, my year starts in February. My birthday's on the 20th, and for me, that's my life cycle. I was born on the 20th, so my year doesn't really conclude until the 20th once again. And for me, I think I get real excited for this month because it is, for me, the rejuvenation of a new year for me. And so I focus a lot on who I am, what I'm doing, what my purpose is in this month. And then when my birthday comes, I celebrate that. I celebrate who I am. I celebrate who I was created to be in leaning in to my true design, my true authentic version that God made me to be. And the older I get and the closer to God that I get and the closer to myself I get, I'm finding myself really, really getting to know myself and who I am. And I'm really liking who that is. I'm really liking who that is. And for me, that's saying a lot because right now, look, TMI for some of you out there, but I'm fixing to be 47. I am literally going through a menopause transition, which, my God, Lord help me, please. I am so hot all the time. You know, when you're 20s, you're like, oh man, I'm hot. And now I'm just like, God, it's hot. I'm hot. I'm going to burn up. I'm going to die in here. I feel like I'm like a raging inferno from the inside out. I was just like telling my mom the other day, I'm like, how do I get air conditioner in my skin? So if anybody can come up with that plan, that sounds great. That would be awesome, actually. But, you know, I'm transitioning into a lot of different places in my life, and out of childbirth and into a different type of womanhood is another one that I am encountering and adventuring in. So to say that I'm really falling in love with myself in a new way, that's a big statement for me. At least in my mind, I'm like, wow, yeah, that's crazy. Getting on here, I just want to say, like, look, it is becoming increasingly, I am becoming increasingly more aware of myself, and getting on here and having these conversations with you and making sure that I am really showing up as myself, my true self. I mean, I teach and preach authenticity every day to its fullest, and I want to make sure that when I come on here that I am also being that for you and not letting the camera take any kind of control or trying to steal any of that authenticity from me, because it's weird getting on here and talking to you that I can't see or hear back, and it's weird seeing myself. So those who continue to watch and join me, I really appreciate your enthusiasm and your time that you give me every week. And I look forward to more and more of it. But I'm doing my best to come on here and share the truth of myself and the truth of my life. And as I continue on, I really wanted to share, because as I continue on throughout the year, bringing people on to share their stories, I wanted to make sure that I was sharing my story with you as well, that it wasn't just, you know, I'm having people come on and share my story, but nobody really knows mine, because I've walked a crazy life. I feel like I've lived so much life in a really short period of time, and I've seen a lot. But I want you to be able to know that I too am vulnerable and share that with you as well. So next week, come back, because I'm getting started. I'll be out of town but you'll be here and you'll see my pretty face on there, and I'll be telling you all kinds of crazy stuff that you're like, whoa. So buckle up. My best friend was like, tell him to buckle up because it's a wild, crazy story. And it is, but it shows you where I come from and where my work stems from and how I got here, and maybe a little bit about where I'm going. So I hope this update was good. Maybe it sounded crazy. Maybe I was rambling. Maybe it's all of the above. It is what it is, right? My life is my life. So I hope you all are going to have a wonderful week. Stay warm. I know that the world is like super cold everywhere. People are getting snow who's never gotten snow. Florida's 20 degrees. Texas, we're icing over. It's wild. So stay warm. Be safe, guys. I look forward to seeing you next week. Y'all have a wonderful week. And remember, guys, freedom is the advantage you already own. Until next time.